Hey Ronan, you want to talk some movies?
Absolutely.
Welcome to the first episode of Movie Chat, where we are totally script free, worry free, just talking the movies of the minute. My first guest, Ronan, he joined me on I've Always Wanted to Watch That. We did Memories and had a good chat, but he wanted some more. So I was like, all right, so let's do this thing. It's way late for me on the East Coast of South Carolina, but for him, it's bright and early, so it kind of works in contrast. So why don't you introduce yourself again, Ronan, to the folks, and how are you doing today?
Good evening to you, Justin, and either good morning or good evening or good afternoon to whoever decides to watch it. Uh, Again, I'm Ronan, 22 years old, from Israel. Found you, Justin, through Letterboxd because I liked your reviews and reached out. And this is my second appearance on your channel.
Yeah. Average Joe's Movie Network. We got the main show. Just recorded a new episode of that tonight with Joey and his buddy Andrew. We talked about Interstellar and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Mm,
So that was a
Inter-
good time.
Interesting choices. Like one, the other one. Uh, we'll see.
What?
I'll say my thoughts about it.
Oh, go ahead. Might as well dive in.
Uh, Look, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, near masterpiece. It's one of the. It's a great. Interstellar. I mean, I haven't rewatched it in years, but from what I remember, it was mostly interesting. And then the third act was got a
Off the
bit
rails.
yeah. It's like it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty, but it got a bit too too complicated for my taste. For my taste. It's a problem with Nolan overall. He's just a part of it. Like he does get into good stuff, but for whatever reason, he just decides to get all all smart and like yeah. On the one hand, you want your audience to think, but on the other hand, when does it get like too confusing or
Mm-hmm.
convoluted? Uh, for me, it happened with the Prestige. You watched it? I
It's
think
been a long. It's been ages. I don't think I've seen that since it came out on Blu-ray. But go ahead.
I liked most of it, but I think when it got to the last twist, spoiler warning by the way,
Absolutely.
when they're all clones, if I remember correctly, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It did kind of lose me a bit. And while same for Tenet, that's in my opinion, a whole gimmick movie because, like, yeah, some of it is impressive, but character-wise, it is so weak.
Oh, I hated Tenet and
It's
Interstellar this last time. So yeah, I was not a fan of the whole love travels throughout the universe with gravity and like
uh,
to explain what the twist is of that it's like he goes into a black hole, he ejects from the plane for some reason and ends up in it was in the folks I was talking to was interested. They described it as a what's the thing Loki has in Marvel, the Tesseract. They
the
described it
cube,
as
yeah, the cube,
yeah, they
the cube.
described it as a Tesseract where he's floating around like in endless memories of his daughter, but on the other side of a bookcase, and then it's the power of love that lets them communicate. It's so bonkers, but it was funny because the guy Andrew who we were talking to, who requested to watch the movie with us, apparently this came out during a really like hard time in his life and it like super connected and made him like full of life,
Hmm.
so he loved it and he had read the screenplay before, so that was some cool perspective. So yeah, it was good
Yeah,
chat.
it's like mostly good, but it just starts to get not as interesting as it goes on, and then the third act just. Eh. I don't know. It's a problem with Nolan I have as a whole. He sometimes feels a bit too gimmicky, in my opinion. Like, uh, hot take, Memento, solid movie. It's a pretty good movie, but I do find the way of telling the story like one way in reverse was it color in reverse or black
Oh,
and
it's.
white chronologically?
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Again, part of it just feels a bit gimmicky. Part of it feels a bit gimmicky. Interesting, but I don't know. Maybe he's just not for me.
All right, let's dive into some movie chat. So, did you want to tee it off with anything for me, or you want me to throw you
Um,
something?
we had some questions that we didn't get to
Okay.
last time. Uh, all right, let's start with what do you think makes an unlikable protagonist interesting to watch? Because for me, it's like you have to have at least one person who is likable to carry the movie. Otherwise,
All right, your principal
it'll be a bit
example.
of a all that jazz, which we mentioned last time,
Okay. Okay.
and there will be blood.
Okay.
Uh, I think for me, with There Will Be Blood, like I thought it was good, but not great. I would say mainly because again, the main character himself was just such. I don't want to use a bad word to
No,
like get demonetized or something.
no, it's fine.
Uh,
Asshole.
like yeah, and hmm, it's like what made him interesting to watch. Maybe it's because I lack the historical context of the time too, but I don't know. I didn't connect with him that much.
Okay. So you're saying you don't like him as a character overall, or just an unlikable protagonist?
I I guess both.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it's like the point. Like there are differences between him and someone like Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix one,
Okay.
where even though he does terrible things, you do get an insight into his life and you kind of get why he eventually does that. So you're still kind of on his side. Unlike There Will Be Blood, all that jazz. Probably some other examples.
For There Will Be Blood for me, that opening section where we're down with him in the mine, I feel so glued into what he's doing there that it's almost like I'm embedded with him. So
Mm.
I almost feel like I've taken on that character and then go through that. So I'm very emotionally connected to Daniel Plainview as he navigates. I definitely get frustrated at times, like the scene in the restaurant where he's like yelling at some guys about something they're eating, or I forget exactly what the context was, but moments like that, you're like, oh, chill out, Daniel. But yeah, I definitely feel like he's this flawed, interesting character, and certain moments of like exhilarated acting, especially the climax of that movie, just tickle me so much. Did you want me to dive
Well,
into one that doesn't work for me with all that jazz, or do you want to counter?
uh, the climax, you mean the part with Paul Dano
Yeah, the bowling alley.
and the church, the milkshake
Yep.
scene?
Well, not the church, the bowling
Uh,
alley.
oh, okay.
The
Uh,
church is a whole
Paul,
another ball game, other great scene. But
Paul Dano's character in that movie, by the way, interesting.
mhm.
I'll say that.
I
Uh,
That's my two most frustrating parts about that movie is the fact that he plays twin brothers or whatever, and that's very unclear.
yeah, yeah. It's like I think at points I had a hard time too of like keeping up with like which one is that?
Yeah, and it's just the one the whole time. They
Yeah,
just mention the one in passing, I think. Um,
yeah.
my other flaw with the movie is the part wherever he's like tracking the oil, where the oil line's gonna be with his fake brother. I don't know. I just
Hmm.
kind of drift off. I think it's that section's a little overlong. It's been a few years, but otherwise a
Uh,
really good movie.
yeah. Since I watched a lot of stuff recently, that is a lot of 2 hours, 2.5, and I'll admit watching that many with that length is a bit tiring because they are that long. Do you think that a lot of movies really need to be that long? I think I think some stuff are perfectly fine at like 90 or 100 minutes. It's like it's not
Pacing.
not every movie really needs to be that length.
Sure, and most horror nowadays, and it doesn't really bother me. I just have to like mentally prepare for like the longer stuff, like in the 3 hour range. Like I always want to watch the longer movies, but it's almost like I have to game plan because I don't want to have it to take a whole week to watch it. Like I'm trying to watch through all the Best Picture nominees, and I'm
Mm.
on All Quiet on the Western Front, and I started that like a month ago, I think, and I tried to watch it over the course of 3 days, and then we went out of town. I was like, I just got to abandon this movie and pick it back up whenever I have some
Uh,
more time. So I'm not exact. That's probably like 2.5 hours or something. So, sometimes it's more of a time commitment thing. It just depends. It just depends.
yeah, maybe my choices, I guess, weren't to my taste. I mean, latest choices were
Hmm.
Munich, the Spielberg movie.
You didn't like it?
It's it's fine. I think
I
the
mean,
the
as you
problem.
as from being from that area, I mean,
I mean, I was
the
born after
nationalism in
that.
that. Oh, go ahead.
I I was born after it happened,
Oh yeah,
obviously.
clearly, because it,
Um,
it happened shortly after not World War II, but
in the 70s, it was
'70s, right?
like the thing is, it's not a bad movie by any means, but at 2 hours and 44, it's
Yeah,
really
it's long in
long.
the tooth.
It's long, and dare I say, a part of it feels a bit unconvincing. Like Eric Bana as someone from here.
Okay,
I don't know. It does look like
gotcha.
same for Daniel Craig.
So you would say the Hollywood touch kind of bothered you
Yeah,
there?
and it's
Okay,
kind of weird
fair.
because there are like I looked at the credits and I recognized some faces. Some actors from here are in that movie. They just
Okay.
speak English, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's kind of weird to have Eric Bana as someone from here. Other ones, I was in the middle of Gangs of New York from Scorsese.
Okay, I did that for a podcast. Actually, I did Munich and Gangs in New York for a podcast.
Oh, what a double feature. Uh,
I'm not sure if they're the same episode, but I digress. Go ahead.
Again, oh, it's well acted, but I think a bit over stylized. A bit. And again, really long. It's really long.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah.
So is if it's correct to say that you're Hebrew?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, so as a Hebrew, I mean, do you trust Spielberg to kind of guide the way to telling y'all stories?
Mm,
Since he's an American compared to you
yeah, but
being still over there.
he is Jewish on the other
Hmm.
hand. Uh, that's an interesting question. I mean, he only did it once with Munich. Uh,
Well,
I think.
Schindler's List.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was great.
Ooh,
So
how about the Coens? Like, what is it?
I haven't watched a lot, but Serious
Oh,
Man
okay.
is the one that
Mm-hmm.
that was good. That was good. Took a bit to get into, but and the ending was maybe just abrupt, but otherwise good movie. I think it really depends on what part of history they want to tackle. I
Okay.
mean, I will say that it does like both movies here made here and a lot of movies that are probably made uh basically what I was going to say is that I think it really depends on the subject and how convincing it is.
Mm-hmm.
um I remember a movie that they showed us in school, I think by a replacement teacher, movie called Defiance with Daniel Craig.
I remember it. Yes, World War II.
And again, like Munich, I never got into it because, like, hearing Hollywood actors say Hebrew names always feels distracting. It just feels
Mm-hmm.
distracting because, like, it's not convincing to me at
Mhm.
least.
I can relate. Like for instance, I used to work at the news station here in my hometown, and I would write for different news anchors to read. And sometimes when they weren't from this area, they would say words like "awanda," like "awinda," or something weird. So like, yeah, I totally get how that would be like, ugh, you didn't say that right. Gotcha.
Yeah. So again, it depends on the director. As for Spielberg, he's my favorite director, but I will say at the moment I think Munich is my least favorite. I
Okay.
actually didn't mind again filled with hot takes. I didn't mind Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I don't hate it. It's not that bad.
Ugh,
Look, is it as good as the first three?
no.
No, but
It's so
it's still
sloppy though. It's just
it's
so hackneyed.
it's
Ugh.
it's still maybe a bit. Look, I've seen some articles for its defense that it basically moved into 50s sci-fi B movies, which I can see that. I don't know. I had a decent time with it. It's not. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. It's not completely awful. It's
I
watchable.
mean, I hear what you're saying. That's how I felt seeing it in the theater the first time, up until the very end. The alien thing totally lost me. But then the last time I watched it with my kid, I was just like, oh, it just feels like he's cutting corners throughout, and it just bugs me.
Hope number five is good.
Yeah,
Hope
Dial
number
of
five is good.
Destiny. What's the name? The director? He did.
James Mangold,
That's a Logan guy, right?
Logan,
Are you a
Ford
Logan
v
fan?
Ferrari. Good movie. I don't think it's my favorite of the X-Men franchise.
Okay.
By the way, I have a thing to say about the franchise in a moment. My favorite is still First Class. Maybe it's because of nostalgia, because I don't know, it's really a great movie. Logan is still very good too. I think where I'm worried is with Deadpool 3, that they said that they're going to bring him back, bring Hugh Jackman back.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And it's like, how are you going to do it? It's like, it made sense with the cameos maybe in Deadpool 2, because, I mean, it's essentially a spin-off, really. But I feel like it's still mildly in the same continuity. I know that the continuity of the franchise is messy, but
Oh yeah, it's a
like it
total.
feels like still
I
a
still
part
haven't
of it
seen New
in a way.
Mutants. That's the only
Solid
one I
movie
haven't
in my
seen.
opinion. Really not as bad as like maybe a bit basic on the character development, but still find it interesting. It's interesting to give the genre a bit of a horror spin. Uh, you want to chat about superheroes stuff for a bit, because like that's
Oh, I had
where.
a question for you if you don't mind.
Oh, so I'll just get this last one out of the way, and then I'll go back to you.
Okay.
Again with the hot takes, and this is probably because of nostalgia.
Okay.
X-Men, the last one.
And how old are you by just for the record?
Uh,
About what age
Old?
range are you for the record?
I'm 22.
Okay. And I'm in my later 30s.
X-Men, the last stand. I can watch it. I find it messy, like not great, but still not has some iffy parts, but still not that bad of a movie, in my opinion.
It's a total betrayal to people who like Cyclops, and they did Professor X dirty.
Uh,
Um,
I mean,
those are my
Cyclops
main
was never.
gripes.
I mean,
Juggernaut is
Cyclops was.
terrible.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Cyclops was.
Deadpool 2, Juggernaut, amazing.
I mean, look. To be fair, Cyclops was never the most interesting character in the franchise. Both.
But he's my favorite.
Really?
I'm not a Wolverine guy, and that's why I think
Mhm.
Logan's so doggone overrated.
Still a good movie though, but it's not my favorite of the
Yeah,
franchise either.
it's your typical
And
that
of
kind of movie.
yeah. I mean, for me, my favorite is still First Class. First Class,
First Class, a lot of fun.
really.
I love Days of Future Past. That's a good ride.
Yeah. Your question, sir.
Awesome. Do you have a letterbox handy?
Letterboxd, what?
Can you pull up my letterbox page by chance?
Oh, yeah. Just a sec.
I wanted you to just kind of look at my profile page and go down as far as you want and just react. Any questions
Okay.
or comments? I'd love to hear it. A
Uh,
live.
which one? Which one do you want me to choose?
Oh, just whatever seems
Like,
appealing.
what section? I guess. Uh,
Just the profile
but
page. I mean, we got your favorite
all right.
films. If anything stands
Uh,
out, recent activity, what have you.
okay.
Haven't
Ava
logged One Flew of the Cuckoo's Nest and Interstellar yet. Got to do that after I publish that cast.
okay. Let's
Okay.
do some recent stuff. Avatar 2. 5 stars for the experience that I get. Although
Oh,
my experience
definitely.
probably
But
my experience probably wasn't great. I mean, the glasses the theater we were was pretty small, and the
mm,
glasses were not great. The 3D glasses.
okay.
Uh, look, visually, fantastic stuff. Really,
Mm-hmm.
probably the one movie I remember since, and I haven't watched the first one probably since it came out. The one movie I will say about Avatar 2 is it made me really feel like I was there, which for a movie in 3D, I think never pulled it off. Well done. But on the story, I'll admit it's a bummer that they didn't really evolve beyond the basicness of
Yeah.
the first one.
Yeah.
The
Same
vil
typical environmental kind of
Yeah,
formula.
and it's like maybe for 2009 it was a bit more acceptable, but now when effects have evolved so much, in my opinion, you have to have a bit more besides them. Back then, maybe because it was so new, but now it's been so long.
But it's already making all the money that they wanted it to
Yeah,
make too.
absolutely, and I'm not saying it's not deserved, but it's mainly because of the effects. The story,
Mm-hmm.
it's
I
just not
mean, it's a
there.
block, but it's a popcorn flick, but it's well
I
made
found
as
the
hell, and I had a
villain.
great time watching it.
I found the villain really lacking in that movie.
Oh,
It's
the blue
I
yeah, that was it.
yeah
It would have been nice if they would have come up with something new, other than a blue
yeah
version of the same guy.
yeah. I mean, I didn't remember much from the first one, so that
Hmm.
didn't help either. Um, let's see. Two superhero stuff, and then we'll get to a bit more of a bigger chat because it is so dominating at the moment. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Black Adam. Four for both.
Okay.
4 stars for both. Okay, Black Panther wrote a review for it. Decent movie. I think, at least for me, Wakanda is probably one of the less interesting parts of the MCU. Like, it's interesting culture wise, but character wise, I never found that much interest in it. Same for the second one. It's like the emotions with T'Challa's passing and such. That was well done.
Yeah.
Namor was really cool. I actually liked him a bit more than Wakanda. But some parts really
You
drag.
mean what's his name? Who's the bad guy from the first one?
Uh, Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan,
Right, right.
Michael B. Jordan's character. I don't remember much of his character either. I haven't seen the first one since I saw it in the theater.
Hmm.
But like with Black Panther 2, some parts really drag. Another
It's a
one
long movie for sure.
another one that really doesn't need to be as long as it is.
Hmm. And the whole like
And
side investigation thing, and the city was not really going anywhere. And I mean, it definitely had its weak moments, but I thought it was a good theater watch.
yeah, it's like it's a decent movie. Maybe one of the better stuff movie wise out of Phase 4, but mm, I don't know, far too again, really long, unnecessarily long, in my opinion. You really could have cut some stuff out of it.
I still haven't
Uh,
seen Ant Man. Have you seen it?
Not yet. I'll admit the reviews are making me wait until it drops on the internet.
Hmm.
I like the first two, but the reviews for this one not great. You want to start the what I wanted to say about about what's going on with all of it, since you touched on it with Ant-Man.
Go ahead.
Uh, okay, what do you think Marvel needs to do in order to basically fix whatever the problem is at the moment? Because Phase Four, we'll say divisive. I like what, three-quarters of it. Three-quarters I found like the ones that I like the least are Black Widow and Eternals on the movies,
Okay.
and um, She-Hulk, the Loki finale, and parts of Falcon and Winter Soldier on the TV side. Like, it's good that they try to do something new, but on the other hand, quantity over quality, probably. And like with Ant-Man, it looked pretty cool to me, but the reviews have made me pretty worried because for Phase Four, fine, but this is supposed to be like the start of the new part, the new phase, and for the start to be reviewed not well, that's not great.
Well, to be fair, I mean they're diving back off from a cliff that was so high that
I think it should have ended after it Endgame. Like I like WandaVision, Hawkeye, Moon Knight. Uh, I'm one of those that still keeps up with it, even if it's just for the sake of keeping up with it. Because like
okay.
I know
I
that
fell
in
off
these,
with the shows at Hawkeye. I haven't seen any show out since then.
um, like I love Shang-Chi and No Way Home. Really enjoyed them, even if No Way Home made for a horrible theater experience, really bad theater experience.
Oh, too bad.
And like me and my friend went there second day after the premiere, and like it was that evening. By the way, full spoilers for anyone who still didn't watch it. When when Ned was doing the portals, and then the other ones jumped out of,
Okay.
like the cheers for Andrew were so big, and then like everyone in the theater was Toby, Toby, Toby. It got so loud that I couldn't hear the movie, and
Hmm.
the people who worked for the theater eventually had to stop the movie and basically say, uh, "Be quiet, or we'll basically kick you out." That's not kick you out, but like we'll stop the movie basically. Like
Right.
same thing happened with Avengers Endgame. I went like a week maybe after it premiered. There was this group of probably like either like middle school people, like a group of
Okay.
people, nonstop noise throughout the entire movie. It was so bad that I got a refund for the ticket.
Jeez, that's unfortunate.
E- Yeah, it's like Marvel movies never go. The premiere is at least here not a good idea. Even something like Venom, like Venom Let There Be Carnage, the second one, went on the premiere. There was a group of either elementary school boys or middle school boys in the back, really cheered over like every like thing, even the opening credits. I'm like, oh boy. Thankfully, they
Not
were
into
still
all the enthusiasm.
yeah, it's like thankfully they were still kind of quiet throughout the rest of the movie, but yeah, going to a Marvel movie here, it's like you really need to wait it out if you want to have a decent experience. Uh, yeah, basically, it's not that I'm like a part of me is still interested in what they have to offer, but if they keep on this trajectory, I just don't think it'll end well for them. I think it should have ended
Well, there
after
hasn't been that
Endgame.
kind of connective piece yet where they all kind of come together and you see why they're telling these different stories. I mean, I
Yeah,
think once it comes together somewhat, we'll see what direction it has.
Yeah. Oh, two things about Spider-Man No Way Home, and then we'll move on. One, Peter's decision I find way too extreme. He really could have talked a bit more, or thought a bit more before pulling that move of basically making everyone forget who he was.
Okay, fair.
And secondly, when I saw the trailer, I think my biggest worry was basically how are you going to justify the villains coming back? Because unless it's like they're from the same universe as the Tobey and Andrew movies, right? And some of them died. Again, spoiler warning. Some of them, I think, died at the end of those movies. So how can you, so like, did you bring them back from the dead? Just kind of weird. Still, really good movie, but there are some plot stuff which is like, how does that work? I mean, you can basically say, like for me, I think with Endgame, it's like the moment you introduce time travel, you're getting in a bit of in some trouble, and like with Loki, like
I don't know, but
escape.
that tied that whole like lead up to that movie together so well, though. So I enjoyed it so
Yeah,
much.
I'm not saying that it didn't, but like the moment you get into stuff like that, it's like you're gonna have some trouble, and then like Loki is escaping to his own show, and uh, it's like that one. You're really just teasing some other stuff in the middle of your big finale movie. Anyway, I think it should have ended there. It felt like the perfect finale to it all
But they wanted to make more money.
because, well, Disney.
Well,
Back to your profile.
okay,
Glass Onion. Watched it a couple days ago. Not as good as the first one, but still really enjoyable.
okay. What did I rate that? 3.5 or something?
Three and a half. Three and a half.
Which is a great, in my opinion, even though I'm not really a fan of those murder mystery shows. I just didn't really get the appeal. I mean, it had some fun moments here and there, but
Mm,
I think I enjoyed this one more than the first one. I was really not a fan of the
really.
first one.
Mm.
Yeah, not
And
my cup of tea.
I think character-wise, I think I like this one less than the first one. But Daniel Craig is just really fun
Hmm.
in that franchise. Okay, now for another hot take from me, and one that you really didn't like. A lot of same for other people.
Okay.
I don't know if to get into this or not because it opens a whole other subject. The Pinocchio remake.
Disney one?
Yeah.
Okay. You liked it?
Look, I gave it three. 3 out of 5. You gave it 1.5.
It's so bad on so many levels of like not even trying to make the story like. I mean, I mean, I think if you were, I think I described in my review how I sat down to watch it and was so disappointed. I started doing chores and kind of half watching it. The second half,
Oh,
it was a porrid.
look.
I'd have to pull up my review in order to remember detail. There's a moment where Pinocchio's staring at shit in the street. Come on.
Yeah. Look, I think my defense with these remakes is that A, they're never going to be as good as the originals, and B, it
Sure.
has been so long since I watched the originals. So I'm trying to judge it more as a movie on their own
Okay. Which
rather than
I
like a
have
remake.
too. I mean, I really enjoyed the Mulan one, and I
Mm,
hated the Aladdin one just because that's my favorite, and that felt like a total betrayal. Lion King, I mean, it definitely wasn't as good, but I mean, it was
mm.
watchable. It kind of reminded me of going to
Uh,
see like the Broadway musical a little bit, but not as good.
I don't know. Lion King, that one is probably one of my lesser favorites because, like,
Oh yeah, the
yeah,
animation. Oh,
like it's impressive, but the moment they start to talk, you kind of realize it's just a gimmick. It's just a
uh
one big gimmick movie, and it's practically the same movie, just with all the emotions sucked out of it. Aladdin, I thought took a bit, but the moment that Will Smith popped up, I thought it really kind of picked up on the energy. So nothing great, but still solid enough, in
So
my opinion.
Aladdin?
Yeah, Aladdin. Like, yeah, Jafar, Misfire, and Aladdin himself.
They cut out Iago.
Mm,
They cut
I
out
thought that he
Abu.
was in the. I thought
He's
that
a
he was in the.
giant
Yeah,
parrot
he's the
that
giant.
chases them
Parrot.
during a. It's like a chase
Uh,
scene. It's
but
not
yeah,
really.
but I liked Jasmine and Genie.
Yeah.
I like them fine. As for Pinocchio,
Hmm.
yeah, some parts of it iffy, but I liked I liked the actor who voiced Pinocchio. Liked him quite a bit. I think he
Hmm.
really was good at like the naivete of the character. At least the Disney version.
It was
Other
neat to see
ones,
Tom Hanks as Geppetto. Meh.
iffy singing and not used as much. Same for the Blue Fairy. Otherwise, again,
Yeah, they didn't. What happened to Blue Fairy?
some odd unnecessary changes. I'll say that.
Hmm.
But I thought it was for what I was expecting from the bad reviews. I thought it was actually mildly watchable. Like the
Yeah,
the
there you go.
the pleasure island sequence, the highlight of the entire movie. That was
Mm.
pretty well done, in my opinion.
Okay, I'd have to relook at it. Don't even remember.
Uh, right. Moving on to other stuff, if you want to.
Sure. Um, do you want me to? You want me to dig up a question
Yeah,
for you?
you go ahead.
Okay. Pull up your page. Stand by. What you gonna be watching next?
I'll finish Gangs of New York and then going through some other stuff I want to before I sell, like to see if I sell them or not. Um, a couple of French stuff.
Let's see what I have up next. So late at night, I probably if I turned something else on, it would definitely be something pretty brisk because I pretty much watched the second half of Interstellar early in the evening.
Mm.
Um,
We can do it lightning round if you want to. Let's just
what do you mean?
like I don't know, go through them like not super quick, but at least get to all the ones that we missed
Okay.
in the podcast. Um, let me just let me just
Are you looking at my watch list or?
uh actually just looked at the messages we sent each other to see
Oh,
if we
okay.
missed anything.
Gotcha.
Uh,
You didn't happen to change your profile to a Star Wars thing, did you?
hmm?
That is you, or no?
I don't know. My photo is still the same. Uh,
Okay.
let's see. Mm,
Hmm.
I feel like
Judging.
I feel like I ran out, so I'll try on top of anything that
Dead air.
that comes on top of my head. Um, thoughts on the Oscars? If they're still relevant
I like
or
watching them.
such.
I always watch. I was always a fan of. I like the little sequences that like highlight, the best of whatever in Oscar history. I always enjoy those. I mean, those always give
Mm,
me those little goosebumps seeing the montages. I mean, some of the like comic bits are not that great, but I mean, kind of breaks up the show. So for this year, I mean, I know I like Tar the best, but I don't think that's gonna win. This everything everywhere all at
we're
once
all at
seems to
once.
have a lot of momentum.
Uh,
So,
but yeah, bummer
hmm
for a bit of a bummer for Fablemans. I thought that would pick up a bit more steam, but who knows, really? At least maybe win something for acting, even though it is a bummer that Paul Dano wasn't nominated. I think he was really good there. By the way, a quick side note: Paul Dano, 2022. What a weird year for him. Both this and Riddler in the Batman. It's like,
hmm
although he was great as Riddler, but like, what a diverse year. Uh, you watched which Best Picture nominees this year did you watch? I only watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, Top Gun Maverick, which I'll say visually is great. Story wise, still enjoyable, but I think I'm just not a fan of Miles Teller. So his
Yeah,
character just
yeah, I wasn't a big
character
fan of
wise.
having to see that whole goose like third act slumped
So
redone for the whole movie.
yeah, it's like still a very enjoyable movie. They did a lot of stuff really right. I just think the new characters could have been fleshed out a bit more.
Okay, I'm
Um,
ready. You want me to go through my Oscar list?
um, Wait, I'll just finish. Uh,
Okay.
Everything ones I watched, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Top Gun Maverick, All Quiet on the Western Front, Fablemans, Triangle of Sadness, Women Talking, which was good, and Avatar 2. I'm still missing on the other ones, and as far as the acting goes, I think I'll just stick with the whale because
I saw that.
you think Fraser will win?
He was really good in the movie. Um, oh, and the Elvis guy. Yeah, he.
Yeah, Austin Butler. Yeah.
Who do I prefer? That's tough. I should probably go to Frasier. I mean, he is the story, and gosh, the weight of that character is just nuts.
Like it would be like I think it will be him because like it would make for like a nice comeback story, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. What did you watch?
Okay, so I've seen all but two. Tar is my favorite, followed by Elvis, Avatar 2, um, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Triangle of Sadness, then Banshees, Top Gun, The Fablemans, and then Women Talking and All Quiet. I need to see.
Fableman's at the bottom. Although you
Yeah,
like that,
I mean,
you like
it was an enjoyable movie, but I don't want it to win Best Picture. I just kind of felt it was this. It was a little Oscar baity. I mean, it had its good moments, but the family drama I thought dwelled on too long.
I don't know. I mean, look on the one hand, it is almost an autobiography. So
Hmm.
I mean, you can. I don't know. I liked it quite a bit. A bit long, maybe. I did feel the length, and I watched
The
it
end was the best
twice.
part.
I actually watched it twice. Once in the theater, once with my mom.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
Felt a bit of the length, but otherwise it was really relatable in a way, in my
Okay,
opinion. Um, Ones
that
that you
works.
think should have been nominated for any Oscars, either picture,
Oh,
acting, or
okay.
whatever. Uh,
Sure.
for me,
I
it's
mean,
two.
okay.
One is Nope for the effects,
Okay.
and the other one is The Menu for the acting. If not on Anya Taylor-Joy, then at least Ray Fiennes, because he is amazing in that movie. Super super terrifying. I know he's the main villain, but terrifying in that movie.
Gotcha.
So well done.
I need to see it still. Um, I mean, I was a big fan of the Northman, so it would have been nice to see Northman in like maybe production design or costumes or something. Um,
Still didn't watch it, but I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
hmm, don't worry, darling. I mean, that's just one of those kind of weird art house
Mm,
kind of side pieces, so that wouldn't need to be in there.
I don't know. That one really didn't work that much. It's like, yeah, it's well made, and Florence Pugh is the best part of it. But I'm sorry, Harry Styles, he was the wrong choice. He's just not an actor. Like I always felt like I was looking at a singer acting rather than like a full performance. And some of the plot, it just kind of stops. Some unresolved plot points. Really not as, and I think the whole idea itself kind of feels not that original anymore. Like an idyllic town with some secrets.
Mm-hmm.
WandaVision did it like the previous
Oh yeah.
year. So it's like,
Yep. I hear what you're saying.
um, one category that I would say I never really cared about because it always went to the one company But this year, probably not. Uh,
Animated?
yeah, I think it's between Puss in Boots 2 and Del Toro's Pinocchio. I hope it's Del Toro's Pinocchio. I really do.
I hope it's Puss in Boots.
You watched the Del Toro, the
Yeah,
Pinocchio, the
once. Oh,
thoughts?
but Puss in Boots is at another level. Puss in
Hmm.
Boots is like the next Spider Verse.
Yeah, it's very fun, but I don't know. I think I prefer Del Toro probably because of like I think both the craft and the maturity of it. Like even if it's not really Pinocchio that much, it
Hmm.
still was very interesting. I'll say
So
that.
let's say Wes Anderson makes Fantastic Mr. Fox 2. Should he automatically get a nomination and a win in the category?
I haven't watched the first one in years,
Ooh,
so
okay.
um, I liked Isle of Dogs though, from what I remember.
Hmm.
He's another one of those directors where I have like less than 5 movies to complete the filmography. So it's like I really try to be like like if it's a director that I have a ranking list of, I want to try to be like a completionist, even though for some of them the backlog is so huge and like some of the early offerings are just not great. So we'll see where it goes. But some of them I have like less than 5 to complete, so we'll see.
Can you think of an animated movie that you went and saw and just thought was great, and then looked on the reviews and everyone didn't think it was worth anything? You want me to start with
Uh,
mine?
Go ahead. I'll look at the rankings too.
Smallfoot. Like I didn't expect anything going into
Yeah,
Smallfoot, and
that
I
was not
just
half bad.
laughed like throughout that whole movie. I thought it was so clever, and then no one appreciated it.
Yeah, no one liked it
Definitely the best of
apparently.
the Yeti movies, in my opinion. It was better than Abominable and that other one that Leica did, The
Missing
Other
Link,
Man, Missing
Missing
Link.
Link.
Hmm.
Yeah, I I think I liked Abominable, but a bit more. Even if story-wise, it was maybe not as clever as Smallfoot. Um, hmm, as for a pick of mine, basically you're saying the underappreciated.
Well, one that you enjoyed that you looked at the ratings and they were in the toilet.
You can choose another one of yours while I look if you have anything.
Let me think. Um, Expand my list. Oh, yes, that will be so great. It'd be so nice once I'm caught up on all these recent movies I want to see. Like,
Yeah, it's like
need to see Women Talking. Need to see All Quiet on the Western Front. Need to see Ant Man. Need to see is it 46 coming up? The dinosaur
65, I believe.
65. Okay, my
Uh,
kid saw
yeah,
the trailer for that and is very stoked. Need to see
yeah, like
Babylon. Need to see Megan.
yeah, it's like it's a thing for me too. It's like it's a battle of like either going for older content or like going for the straight new stuff because like I don't want to get into like I did for last year. It's like I think around November I was like trying to really get caught up on all the stuff from the previous year from 2022 that I missed. And like I think this year I want to try and get it straight out of the way so I won't have to worry about it. But on the other hand, it's like all the older content that is maybe better. So it's like it's a constant battle of like what to go for, really.
Yeah, and I've actually not even been able to tackle my Oscars as hard as I want because the last 3 weeks I've done podcasts. Like 3 weeks ago, I did La Haine with some friends, and then
French
last.
movie?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, French movie?
Yep, that's correct.
Hmm. Hmm.
Watched Dear Zachary with my buddy Adam last week. This week, Interstellar and One Flew, and yeah, it's just been bogged down in those commitments. So it's nice to be podcast free for
Uh,
probably a couple weeks.
I think I have I like I don't want to have too many choices, but
Hmm.
I think at the moment I'll just say one or two.
Okay.
Let's actually probably three. Two are from the same company. Two are DreamWorks ones, and Mr. Peabody and Sherman. You
Enjoyed
watched
it.
it, yeah,
Hmm.
and well, probably
Actually,
they're both.
I am almost conquered all my dream. I have three DreamWorks films to see: Spirit, Spirit 2, and Joseph.
Oh, Spirit and Spirit Two are some of my lesser favorites. Eh. Like Spirit Two kind of feels like a streaming movie that went to the theater. It's not. It's fine, but it's not very ambitious. Let's say it's pretty much one of those movies that knows what the audience is, but
Okay.
not much else. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, Mr. Peabody and Sherman. I like
Yeah, it's a
Captain
fun one.
Underpants. Captain Underpants.
Yeah, that was decent.
Very childish, but still pretty fun.
I
Uh,
enjoyed the first Boss Baby.
Not as bad. Both of them I don't mind that much. Like chaotic maybe, but not that bad.
Yeah, man.
Uh, and the other one is a Blue Sky movie, their last movie, I think. Spies in Disguise.
Mm-hmm. Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith, Tom Holland.
And yeah, Tom Holland too. Yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater with the kiddos. It was, disposable fun.
Yeah, no, I liked it quite a bit. I think because of like the it had some interesting messaging and some nice creativity in there. Uh, any other ones that pop up in my mind at the moment?
Coming up on the hour mark. So yeah, any last nuggets you want to get to? And go and tail off.
Uh,
No hard cut off
uh,
here.
um, hmm, uh, favorite and least favorite from each director. Not each, but like your like the really big ones, let's say.
Okay. So you're gonna name the director.
Um, like we could do it like really really quick edition,
That's fine.
basically. Uh, let's do Nolan, uh, Eastwood, Cohen's.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, so Nolan, my favorite from Nolan would probably be. Would it be Inception? Let me look. Let me look at his filmography.
Have missed only one of his filmography at the moment.
Christopher Nolan. Been a long time since I've seen The Prestige. Oppenheimer coming out. Oh, I guess it has to be. Is it The Dark Knight? Let's just give it to The Dark Knight. Why not? And my least would have to be Tenet.
Favorite at the moment is Inception. Least favorite is Tenet. Really. Uh, Eastwood. I haven't seen a lot
Eastwood.
of Eastwood. I haven't seen a lot of Eastwood, so I've seen only what five, I think.
Ooh, that's one of the joys of Letterboxd. You can see what those percentages.
Oh yeah, it's like how close you are to completing something.
Nowhere close on Clint Eastwood, but let's see here.
Yeah, no, see, that's not for me.
No, I don't want the movie called Eastwood. All right, let's. Okay. Um. Hmm. So I've done a podcast about J. Edgar before. Definitely wouldn't be
And
and Unforgiven. Funny story. I had a double header one night of we started with Bridges of Madison County and rounded out with Vegas Vacation.
of all things.
Yeah. Definitely
Oh,
was a more upbeat half part of the night. Oh, these are so. Are we talking about Eastwood in general or all just direction?
directed to make it
Okay.
easier. So, by the way,
Okay.
Vegas Vacation. It's a bit mediocre. It does reuse a lot of the same stuff. I do prefer it more than European though. European I really found lame.
Yes, I can agree with that. I think Christmas might be the best, followed by the first one,
Yeah,
followed
I
by
know.
Vegas, followed by part two.
I know. European, I thought really just used the same joke over and over again. It just got old after a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't a fan either.
Yeah.
Million Dollar Baby, American Sniper, Gran Torino, Mystic River. Such it's a bleak filmography.
Yeah. I think the ones I watched, I'll just do it quick for me. Ones I watched were Letters from Iwo Jima, Sully, Flags of Our Fathers, American Sniper, and Jersey Boys.
Okay.
Favorite is Letters from Iwo Jima. Least favorite is Jersey Boys. I think he was the wrong choice for such energetic material, and then the material itself really like Broadway musical, but the movie itself is barely a musical. So like that's a shame. That's a shame. And with really good voices, the story itself is just not there. He was the wrong choice for the material.
Okay. I have actually seen The Gauntlet, and that was kind of a fun show. Um, Bridges of Madison County, it's a good show too. What have I not enjoyed from him? Maybe J. Edgar. I don't know.
Uh, okay, Cohen's favorite for me, and I am
Ooh.
including Macbeth because it is like I know it's one of
Oh,
them,
I.
but I still count it for I still count it.
Ooh.
Macbeth is my favorite. My least favorite is uh, Intolerable Cruelty.
Okay.
So, and I just felt like that one was just like I didn't understand about 75% of the dialogue, so that didn't help. But I don't know. No, no, it's like am I really supposed to believe these two people who one deceives the other so much really fall in love? It's like,
hmm
didn't work for me. Didn't work for me.
My top would have to be either it's like a tie between like Fargo and Macbeth. Gosh,
Mm.
and Serious Man's good too. But on the downside, like Miller's Crossing or Blood Simple wasn't really my bag the first time.
Uh, okay, let's three more. I would say three more, and then we'll just end.
Sure.
Uh, Tarantino. I still have missed about four, I would say. Favorite, Inglorious Bastards at the moment.
Same.
Yeah. Least favorite, again with the hot takes. Pulp Fiction.
Ooh, that is a hot take. Why is that?
I watched it probably a couple of years ago. I felt like I just watched I get a very hot take. I felt like I watched a bunch of. I don't know. I didn't get it. Felt like I watched just a bunch of nothing.
Oh
Sorry.
goodness. No, no, it's fine. I've seen it countless times, and the more I watch it, the more I enjoy it. My top would be kind of a tie between Pulp Fiction and Glorious Bastards. Unfortunately, Jackie Brown is probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, but it just doesn't connect with me as much as.
Yeah, that was one that I watched before Munich, and like I don't know. I like the main character. Everyone else, not as much, and again, really long. Some of it really overlong. Uh, Next one, Ridley Scott.
Okay. Hmm.
Favorite of mine at the moment is Alien, the first one. I'm an alien over aliens. Okay. Least favorite, Body of Lies with
Okay.
DiCaprio and Russell Crowe.
Haven't seen that one. Really big fan of Gladiator. I can't believe Ebert hated that movie as much as he did.
Historically
Um,
inaccurate, but entertaining nonetheless.
Bad film from Ridley Scott.
I mean, he is really hit and miss. He is really inconsistent.
I wouldn't say The Duelist is my favorite. That's an early film of his that I finally checked out. I still need to see stuff like Legend. I haven't seen that before. Everything I've seen from him is pretty decent. Definitely owe Blade Runner another watch soon.
Uh, okay. Spielberg favorite is Schindler's List. Least favorite at the moment is Munich.
Wow, we're lining up on a lot of stuff. Yeah, Schindler's List is my favorite from Spielberg.
Least
Um,
favorite is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Probably. That's fair. He called it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Although, judging from at least the response, 1941 is probably his worst one. But
Really need to
I'll get to
say,
it someday.
really need to say AI again. One of these
Uh,
days.
yeah,
So many
AI,
movies, some
underrated
little
one.
time.
Uh, Tell me about it. AI, underrated movie. Like it kind of changes stuff in the second half, but underrated movie. Although it's interesting. Like, did you know that it was originally going to be a Kubrick movie?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, it's like interesting. It would have been interesting if it was completed in his hands.
Yeah, one of the great odd darns of world cinema.
Ah,
So,
Kubrick. Eh, one that is again very hit and miss for me.
have you looked much? Because he was gonna do Aryan Papers, but then when Schindler's List came out, I guess he pulled back from doing a Holocaust film.
Um, well, I mean, Schindler's List is such a eh, brutal movie
Complete. Hmm.
to say the least. Over
Yeah.
long one, but one that kind of feels like it's needed to be
Oh yeah,
that length.
deservingly so. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Movie that you really sorry.
No, no, it's
Movie.
fine. I think
Uh,
we should not end on Schindler's
yeah.
List. I think it should be something more
Yeah.
bright.
Yeah. So okay, let's do it too. One depressing, one not. Movie first one. Movie that you really loved, will never watch again for whatever reason.
Hmm. I'm a glutton for punishment, so there's very few fall into this category. Um, Movie I love, but I wouldn't want to watch it again. It's tough. Do you have one?
All Quiet on the Western Front, the new one,
Okay,
is one for me. Um, Grave of the Fireflies, the Ghibli one, is another one.
that makes sense. That's a
Super de-
tearjerker.
Super depressing movie. And yeah, Schindler's List is another one. Like I know they're all around the same subject, so it kind of makes sense. But
It's hard
yeah,
because those tearjerker ones, I live for that so much. The movies that make me feel, and that's
yeah.
usually how they end up as like one of my favorite. Inside would be hard to watch again. Yeah, I don't think I
Bo
would want to
Burnham,
watch Inside.
Bo Burnham one.
No, no, this is a French horror film.
Uh,
2007 Inside. That was pretty gruesome, but amazing at the same time. Oh yeah, it would have to be it would have to be some like real violent horror stuff that I was brilliantly made, but I just do not want to go down that road again.
I do kind of notice that a lot of other countries are like more acceptable with stuff like what to show and censorship as opposed to the U.S.
Hmm, interesting. Alrighty then. Did you was there a second half of that question?
Uh, I think so. Um, oh, okay. Here we go. Last one.
Okay.
Favorite childhood movie?
Who? Might have to be American Tail. It I watched it
Oh
countless
yeah.
times. Every Fourth of July, I watch it with my boys. Just since I watched it as an adult, like the whole American immigrant side, like shines so much more for me. And there's just so many little nuances that are just masterfully crafted.
Yeah.
Anytime you mention Russia, I'm usually you got me there, and there's a nice little Russia chunk at the beginning, or maybe it's Ukraine, Slavic.
Not a fan of the sequel though. Not a fan of the sequel.
I
Yeah.
concur.
Yeah.
Yep. Papa
Far too
Goes West is tragically
far too.
bad
It's not that it's bad. It's fine. Like it's fine as a movie on its own, but
for a
it's just way
kid.
way too childish compared to the first one.
Yeah, you
Really
nailed
didn't
it.
gel for me. Didn't work for me. Two that I remember from really when I was young, and I know I'm 22 years old, but I mean they still count. Two Disney movies: Narnia, the first one, and
Okay.
Enchanted. Enchanted
Okay.
with
Yeah.
like I watched like clips after watching the sequel, Disenchanted. Not as good as the first one, but still not nearly as bad as everyone says it is. Um, wrote a review on that. If you want to check out that sequel. It's mildly fun. Takes first act is a bit of a slog, but once it really pops, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, Enchanted, it's just such a joyous movie. It's just such a happy movie.
Awesome.
Like Giselle, why isn't she counted in the official princesses line is beyond me. She counts, even if it's only 2 movies. I would still say she counts.
Awesome. Well, it's been awesome talking movies with you this evening or morning for
Morning
you.
for me.
How do people track you down on Letterboxd and Twitter?
Twitter, I barely use, so
Okay.
I don't think it's the way for me. On Letterboxd, Ronens13, RONENS13. That's where you can find me. I watch stuff nearly daily, so I keep it updated a lot. I am one who constantly updates the list with everything new that I log. Like I really try not to miss stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me for the first episode of Movie Chat, and maybe we'll do it again sometime. Take care, dude.
Glad to be back, and we'll be glad for more in the future.